Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Glad to have you here with me. Thank you for pushing that play button and continuing on to join me on this journey and listening to this podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you're following the podcast. Make sure you're leaving a rating and a comment about what this podcast is doing for you, or share it out with people who are planning to make a shift from their old self to their new identity self and taking on this journey if they're looking at their purpose and doing what their purpose is over a paycheck. Share this out with them. Yeah, share this out with them. I've got some great news that I want to share with you, but I'll do that toward the end of the podcast because for some people who may need support in this work, if they're planning to do it, I do have an ebook available that I'll talk a little bit about at the end of this episode, toward the end of this episode, that will tie into this work that you're doing. Okay, moving from a purpose to a paycheck. All right, welcome. Okay, so today's episode is called "Boundaries Are Not the New Stability." Boundaries are sorry. Let me correct that. Boundaries are the new stability. I don't know where I got the not. Boundaries are the new stability. So I'm going to start off with this, right? I always start off with something easy, simple, or gentle. For many of us, stability used to come from structure, routine, and a paycheck. Let me say that again. For many of us, stability used to come from structure, routine, or a paycheck. But when life changes, when your life changes, those old anchors shift. And what replaces them? What replaces those old anchors is boundaries. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about when we create boundaries, why do these boundaries tend to feel uncomfortable? A lot of people feel uneasy around boundaries. When you start to set boundaries, a lot of people start to feel uncomfortable. It's not because they don't want the boundaries, it's because they were never taught how to use them safely. They were never taught how to use them safely. That's why when we establish boundaries, they become uncomfortable. Many boundaries for us have been associated with rejection, conflict, disappointment, or being difficult. So when we begin to start setting boundaries, the nervous system starts to interpret them as danger, even when we're starting to set healthy boundaries. Our nervous system triggers that these are dangerous, even though they are healthy. Now, friends, boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are not walls. What they are a set of instructions for how to be in a relationship with yourself or with others. Boundaries are not walls, they are instructions for how to be in a relationship with you or others. Boundaries will tell people or yourself, this is what I can give. This is what I need. This is what I'm available for, and this is what I'm not. Those become a set of instructions that are clear, so that your life becomes calmer and things won't feel so chaotic. Boundaries are going to create a safety. If you don't have boundaries, everything will feel uncertain. You will find yourself overextending. You will find yourself always second guessing. You will even find yourself trying to anticipate what everyone else needs. And because of that, that's where we create this instability. But when we begin to start setting boundaries, right? We start setting up these instructions. We start to reduce the uncertainty, and we start to give our nervous system a sense of structure. We're giving our nervous system some guidelines. And then when we create this new structure, it creates safety. So, let's tie in our boundaries in rebuilding income. Because this is probably going to be the most important set of instructions and boundaries when you're rebuilding income. Because if you're moving into your purpose and you're leaving the paycheck, remember, we talked about the paycheck is that safety and security. It's that comfortable blanket, pillow, bed that snuggles you and tells you you are safe, you are calm, there's that comfort zone. But when you move in from a paycheck to your purpose, and you're reestablishing these new set of instructions of boundaries, it's going to start, they're going to be important to rebuilding your income. So here's what happens. If you don't have these boundaries or these set of instructions, you're starting to say yes to the following. You're starting to say yes to work that will drain you. You will start saying yes to opportunities that are not aligned or don't fit into your purpose. And you will start to say yes to urgency that is going to create a burnout. But when you create these boundaries or these set of instructions, you are choosing work that supports your energy instead of consuming it. Let me say that again. When we set these boundaries or new instructions to our nervous system, we are going to start choosing work that supports my energy, your energy, instead of consuming it. And by doing this, this is how stability is built. Slowly and sustainable. Now, when you start to set new boundaries, you're going to feel guilt. And I want you to know that guilt is not a signal to stop. Oh, no, 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 no. When you start setting these boundaries, these new instructions, guilt is going to often show up. Our good friend, guilt is going to come visit us a little more than we need to. And that's not because you did something wrong. And that's not because, you did something that says, hey, guilt, come on in. It's because you're breaking old patterns. What guilt in this relationship is doing, it is a sign that you are changing the relationship between you and others. And it means that you should not undo the boundary. When you start to set new boundaries and new instructions, guilt will show up because it's giving you a sign that you are changing relationships between you and others. And it does not mean you should undo the boundary. So if you're, sorry, Sable, she likes to bark. She wants to make sure people know she's in the house. Sorry about that. If you're listening and you're starting to think, but I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. I want you to hear this. Protecting your energy is not harm, it's responsibility. Protecting your energy is not harm, it's responsibility. Boundaries don't create a distance. Boundaries create clarity. So, if you're afraid or you feel guilty that I'm going to leave my paycheck because I want to live my purpose, and you're going to feel guilty about it, because you feel you're going to hurt someone, I'm going to tell you this. That's a you issue, because they're going to get over it. They're going to find someone new. They'll replace you. That's how quick. They may be hurt for a couple of days, but then someone's going to replace it. And you're going to be sitting with this energy of guilt, but you need to protect it. Okay, so protecting it is not harm, it's a responsibility. Again, boundaries don't create distance, they create clarity. Boundary examples can be like something simple as, I'm not available for that, sorry. I need time before I decide. I can do this much, not more. Or, my favorite, I'm resting today. You don't owe anyone a story. When guilt comes in, when someone asks us to do something, and we say, well, I'm resting today, we follow that up with this whole explanation or story on why I'm resting today. You don't owe anyone a story. If you tell someone, I need time before I decide, that's it. They don't need the story. They don't need to know why you need time. But because we've been so programmed with guilt that we do this. I find myself at times reflecting on when I've used those statements because guilt felt in. Like if someone will come and say, hey, do you want to do this and everything? I will tell them, I'm not available at this time. They'll ask the question, why? And then, of course, I feel like I owe them a story. Instead of just say, well, thanks for asking, but again, I'm not available at this time. They don't need a story. Because I'm going to tell you right now, simple statements create powerful structure. When you set those boundaries, those set of instructions, those simple statements are so powerful that they build that structure, a powerful structure. So when you are starting to work and honor your boundaries, these new boundaries that you're creating, you're starting to honor them. You start to teach yourself that I matter. I'm listening, and I'm allowed to be here. Because when you build boundaries and that self-trust, it becomes the foundation for everything else. It becomes the foundation for a stronger self-trust and in everything you do. What happens is old stability, it came from an external system. New stability comes from the internal integrity. So when your actions start to match your values, this creates a life that feels steadier even in change. You will know how to approach change. And that's what boundaries give you. All of that. That's what boundaries give you. All right. Whew. Talking a lot about boundaries. I want you to pause and reflect on this today. Even if you need to go back and listen to this, because I would probably say that this is one of the most meaningful episodes in this whole process. And in general, it's just one of the meaningful episodes for things in life. Because too many times I have found that I have not set boundaries because of guilt. And through this process, I've come to learn that my boundaries are what create safety in every decision that I make in my life. Because what's happening is I'm learning to create a stability from an integrity of who I am. I'm starting to realize that my boundaries are a reflection of the values that I hold dear to my heart. Think about that. All right. In our next episode, we're going to talk about why consistency matters more than clarity. All right. This is going to be one that's going to hit me hard because I'm learning to become consistent. So we're going to talk about why that matters more than clarity and how showing up calm builds that momentum. That's going to be our next discussion in the next episode. All right. As always, if this episode resonates with you, make sure you're following the podcast, make sure you are rating it, and make sure that you have the notification on, because if you want to stay with me on this journey, I greatly appreciate you jumping on with me. All right. Before I end, I did say that I wanted to kind of plug in real quickly. I have 3 ebooks. People have reached out and said, how can I do this work at a self-pace, which you're talking about? I have 3 ebooks available, and the link is in the show notes. It'll say my website. You click on that, it'll take you to my link tree. I have 3 books. The first ebook is called Aligned. It is an ebook that is created on understanding the foundations of the law of attraction and how manifestation works in your life, especially if you're moving into new territory in your reality. So that's a great foundational work. Also, I have another book called Aligned, and that one really focuses on the shift, which works with energy, frequency, and vibration, and it gives you practical applications. It gives you really good stuff and information and knowledge that you can take and build with it. And then I just released my 3rd ebook, which is Manifest Like You Mean It. It is a 30-day program to rewire your mindset for abundance. It is a 30-day program, self-paced. Every day has reflection, journal prompts, coach's corner, practical applications for you to do, and then it allows you to do the work on your own, okay? And that just got released here just last week, and that is also available for purchase. Instant download. You don't have to wait for it in the mail. You don't have to wait for it in an email. You just go to Linktree and you just make the purchase, and boom, the book is there. It is yours, and you can start the work whenever you want, right? And it's a 30-day program, and that just got released out, and so there's my little plug-in about that. All right. So before I leave, I want you to remember something. Boundaries aren't restrictions. Boundaries are how you create a life that you can hold. All right? Boundaries aren't restrictions. Boundaries are how you create a life that you can hold. All right, friends. I wish you a great day. I wish you a great rest of your day, depending on whatever time it is. Love you. And as always, I will talk to you soon.